This is the story of the Immortals. They were the chosen, the elite warriors of the Persian Empire, 10,000 strong, unyielding, unstoppable. Their name alone struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. When one fell, another took his place, ensuring that their ranks never wavered, their numbers never diminished. It was said they could not die. From the rise of Cyrus the Great, who forged an empire from blood and ambition, to the rule of Xerxes I, when they faced the legendary Spartans at Thermopylae, the Immortals stood at the heart of history's greatest battles. Their spears shattered enemy lines, their arrows darkened the skies, and their unwavering loyalty protected the Persian kings for nearly 2 centuries. But power is fleeting. Empires rise, and empires fall. And even the Immortals could not outrun fate. At Gaugamela, in 331 BCE, they faced their greatest challenge, Alexander the Great. Outnumbered but not outmatched, the Macedonian king struck with speed and precision, tearing through the Persian ranks. The Immortals fought, but without their king's leadership, their legend crumbled. That day, their invincibility was shattered, and with it, the empire they had sworn to defend. This is the story of warriors who were more than men, yet still bound by the fate of all who wield the sword. This is the story of the Immortals, once thought eternal, now a legend whispered in the winds of history. The elite warriors of the Persian Empire, the unyielding shield of the Achaemenid kings. For centuries, they stood as the empire's sword and armor, a force whispered about in fear and reverence across the ancient world. They were more than soldiers, they were a legend, a symbol of Persia's unbreakable might. When one of them fell, another took his place, ensuring that their ranks never wavered, never faltered. It was said they could not die, that they were eternal. From the reign of Cyrus the Great, who forged their empire, to the campaigns of Xerxes I, when they clashed with the Greeks at Thermopylae, the Immortals struck down countless enemies. Yet, it was not the Greeks who doomed them, nor the Egyptians or the Scythians. The end came at Gaugamela, in the year 331 BCE, when they faced a warrior unlike any other, Alexander of Macedon. The battlefield was vast, stretching under a sky heavy with fate. The Immortals stood in the heart of Persia's army, surrounding Darius III, their king, their charge. The enemy was outnumbered, yet their resolve was unshaken. As the battle raged, their shields locked, their spears thrust forward, but the Macedonians fought with an iron discipline that matched their own. And then, Alexander struck. With a brilliance that shattered the tide of war, he led his cavalry through their flanks, tearing into their ranks like a storm. Their formation broke. The king fled. And in that moment, they knew, the illusion of immortality had shattered. This is the story of their rise and fall. From the grandeur of Persepolis to the ashes of defeat, they were the guardians of an empire that once ruled the world. Though their name faded, their legacy endured. For warriors do not die with their bodies, their story lives on in the echoes of history, in the clash of steel, and in the memory of those who still whisper their name. They were the Immortals, but even they could not escape destiny. The Persian Immortals originated from the Achaemenid Empire, which spanned a vast territory stretching from modern-day Iran, parts of Central Asia, Egypt, and into Greece. Their base was located in Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, a city that symbolized the wealth and power of the Persian kings. The Persian Immortals, a name that echoes through the ancient corridors of history, were an elite group of soldiers in the Achaemenid Empire, specifically under the reign of King Xerxes I, circa 518 to 465 BCE. Officially known as the Aenacea, the Immortals were a highly skilled and highly disciplined unit of 10,000 warriors who protected the king and the empire with unparalleled loyalty. Though their existence is often mythologized, the reality of their history was grounded in intense training, rigorous mental conditioning, and an almost religious devotion to their duty. The Immortals were feared by enemies and revered by their own people. These men were handpicked from across the Persian Empire, coming from various ethnic groups such as Persians, Medes, and other subject peoples. The Persian Immortals existed for the singular purpose of safeguarding the empire's stability and ensuring the survival of the Achaemenid dynasty. The name Immortals was not a reference to their literal immortality, but rather to the unwavering consistency and replenishment of the unit. Whenever a warrior fell in battle, another would immediately take his place, ensuring that the unit's strength was never diminished. They were also a symbol of the empire's might and divine favor, appearing in battle as a seamless, unbroken force. Their elite status and incredible prowess in combat were a testament to their loyalty and the empire's dominance. The Persian Immortals originated from the Achaemenid Empire, which spanned a vast territory stretching from modern-day Iran, parts of Central Asia, Egypt, and into Greece. Their base was located in Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, a city that symbolized the wealth and power of the Persian kings. The Immortals were established around 550 BCE, during the reign of Cyrus the Great, who founded the Achaemenid Empire. However, it was under Darius I, circa 522 to 486 BCE, and later Xerxes I, circa 518 to 465 BCE, that the unit's influence peaked. The Immortals became central to the Persian military, often accompanying the king on campaigns and battles. The unit's training was rigorous. They had to master the use of the bow, sword, spear, and shield, weapons that were integral to Persian warfare. Beyond physical training, they were taught to maintain strict discipline and follow orders without question. This mental conditioning was what made them so formidable, for they could operate as a single entity with a sense of unity rarely seen in other military units of the time. The Immortals saw their greatest battles during the campaigns against Greece, especially during the famous Battle of Thermopylae, 480 BCE, and the subsequent Persian Wars. Their role in these battles would cement their status in history, even though the outcome was often unfavorable for the Persian Empire. The Persian Immortals held many secrets, but their most important secret was the meticulous organization and discipline that allowed them to maintain such a reputation for invincibility. This was achieved through a combination of military strategy, psychological warfare, and intense loyalty. The Immortals would never fight for glory or personal gain, their commitment was to the king and the empire. Additionally, their ritualistic training had an almost mystical quality to it. They were not only trained warriors but were also regarded as semi-sacred figures, with a belief that their strength was derived from divine sources. Legends tell of a sacred fire that was kept alive at all times, and the Immortals were said to draw their strength from this fire, which was believed to be a gift from the gods. The main conflict faced by the Persian Immortals was the struggle to protect an empire constantly under threat, not just from external enemies like the Greek city-states but also from internal strife and political intrigue. The biggest threat to the Immortals' power was the instability of the Persian Empire itself. Kings could be overthrown, and alliances could crumble, leading to power struggles that sometimes required the Immortals to choose sides in a deadly political game. The stakes were always high, for the survival of the Persian Empire relied on these 10,000 men. A failure to protect the king or a loss in battle could result in the collapse of the entire empire, shaking the very foundation of Persian rule. One of the most unpredictable and dramatic twists in the history of the Persian Immortals came during the reign of Xerxes I. In 480 BCE, the Persian Empire's massive invasion of Greece faced stiff resistance, culminating in the Battle of Thermopylae. The Immortals, expected to be an unstoppable force, were caught off guard by the Greek strategy and the valor of the Spartans. At Thermopylae, the Immortals were forced to face an unforeseen challenge. The famous 300 Spartan warriors, led by King Leonidas, held the narrow pass with such determination and skill that the Persian forces were stalled for days. In the end, a betrayal allowed the Persian forces to outflank the Greeks, but the Immortals were deeply shaken by their inability to crush the Greeks outright. Another unpredictable twist in the Immortals' history came later, in 330 BCE, when Alexander the Great's Macedonian army invaded Persia. The Immortals, once considered invincible, found themselves overwhelmed by the tactical genius of Alexander, whose strategies completely dismantled the Persian military. As Alexander advanced through the Persian heartland, the Immortals were left with no choice but to surrender, signaling the end of the Persian Empire and the death of their once unstoppable force. The final chapter of the Persian Immortals came with the fall of the Achaemenid Empire in 330 BCE, when Alexander the Great's forces overthrew Darius III and conquered Persia. Despite their reputation for invincibility, the Immortals were no match for Alexander's well-trained and disciplined forces. After the fall of Persepolis, the Immortals were scattered, and many were either killed or integrated into Alexander's army. Their name, however, would live on through history as a symbol of loyalty, discipline, and the raw power of the Persian Empire. Though the Immortals themselves faded into history, their legacy endures in the annals of military history, representing the heights of an empire's might and the fragility of all empires in the face of time. The Persian Immortals were not just soldiers, they were a living symbol of the Persian Empire's strength and unity. Their rise and fall are a reminder of the complexities of empire building, where power is both a source of greatness and of vulnerability. Their story is one of unparalleled loyalty, fierce battles, and, ultimately, the inevitability of change in the face of unstoppable forces.
Thank you for watching our video. Your support truly inspires me to create more amazing content. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more.